thing. We're in the business of going fast, and so are the teams, and they push it to the absolute limits and sometimes over it, and that's what happens.
And the full credit to Shane. He just merged into the family as if he'd been there all along.
I was embarrassed for that race to restart in Tasmania. Dumb shit like that just isn't acceptable.
From the racetracks across Australia, and here's Inside Supercars.
Welcome to Inside Supercars. Tony Whitlock and Craig Gravel, and getting ready for a big weekend at Sandown.
Thanks, Tony. Yes, it should be interesting. The next three races can really turn around a season for someone who's been in the doldrums.
Indeed it will, and of course there'll be a couple of teams such as both DJR Team Penske and of course Tickford Racing, who will both be looking to resurrect their seasons which have been in a decline for the last few rounds, while Triple Eight and Walkinshaw Andretti United have both been climbing and doing extremely well.
Yeah, interesting to see how those ZBs will go on the next two circuits in particular, because the next two circuits are going to suit powerful, sleek cars. And as we've seen, the Walkinshaw engines over the years have always been good. The Triple Eight engines coming out of KRE have always been very powerful and generally reliable. And, of course, on the other side of the fence, Dick's Falcon engines, or Dick's Ford's engines, I should say, have always been the class of that field. So a lot of power, and we'll see if there's any aero advantage, which is something that might brew up to boiling point across this weekend, particularly heading into Bathurst.
Indeed, and it was interesting that in interviewing earlier Cam Waters, he brought up the subject of the Volvos, and of course that's the one thing that many people have raised the issue of, that the ZB has reminiscence of the Volvo package that was a truncated body, all while they're on the same wheelbase and track, and everything else, of course, is the same. They do have a shorter body with a rear wing that's overhanging. So it will be interesting to see the speed differences between the ZB and an FGX, and even against the Altimas, which also have a smaller body and have shown considerable speed, particularly at the recent couple of meetings we've had, which have had long straights and that opportunity. But on the news this week, the only thing that is really worthwhile was a bit sad for Aaron Russell, a terrific young racer who was in the series full-time shortly with Lucas Dumbrell. Did get a start last year at Newcastle with them, but appear that they won't be able to put in an additional car on the grid because of the garage system that they have in place at Newcastle, but maybe that'll change. We'll wait and see on that one, but it certainly bodes well for a very big Sandown this weekend. So we'll be coming back after the break with Cam Waters, the defending champion, one half of course, Richie Stanaway now being in his own car. Do you remember, Craig, who Richie is sharing with this weekend?
In fact, Tony, it's Steve Owen who's running with him.
Oh, right. Well, that's a great experienced man for Richie Stanaway to be sharing with. So coming up after the break, we'll be with Cam Waters.
Each week, join the Inside Motorsport team as they look at all the news from across Australia and around the world.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. Through the years, a lot of reference this race as one of our majors. 600 miles around here is no easy task.
We're able to beat the 211 boys and meet Anthony Begley in the final, which we were able to take the win off him. So it was a great weekend for the Rapstada family.
Inside Motorsport broadcast on community radio and online at sportradio.com.au. The views expressed on Inside Supercars, including the panellists and guests, do not reflect the views of the network, Thunder Media or Sport Radio. Any publication or rebroadcast of the show without the expressed written permission of Thunder Media is strictly prohibited.
Oh, wonderful. And welcome to Inside Supercars. We're joined by the 2017 Sandown 500, one half of the 2017 winner, Cam Waters. Welcome on board to Inside Supercars, Cam.
G'day, thanks for having me, mate.
Absolutely wonderful to have you back again. And look, it's been an amazing year for a whole bunch of different reasons, but one of the things is, of course, you've been recollected over the last weeks of the fact you are the 2017 Sandown 500 with Richie Stanaway.